Hey guys, Liquid Fire here. Thanks for joining me again tonight. So this is a quick turnaround for us. Just yesterday, we had a video come out because Nine Rock Games dropped the teaser trailer for the new hunting game. They didn't give us any names or anything, but yeah, we got some ideas. And today they turned around and dropped another video. This is their dev diary. So they called this one "The Future is Unreal." I'm going to run through the summary they gave in YouTube because it really covers a bulk of what they talk about in the dev diary. We're going to walk through it, and we're going to glean some information from some stuff they say as well. But here's what they said about it. We're back with a new season of Developer Diaries, this time to share what's next for our studio and why we chose to build a brand new hunting game from the ground up. It's been over 3 years since the release of Way of the Hunter. A lot has happened since then, both in-game and within our team, and it felt right to return with the new season of Dev Diaries to talk openly about where we're headed next. From the beginning, we've tried to stay close to the community. We listen, we read, and many of your ideas sparked long internal discussions. Over time, it became clear that some of the things we wanted to improve or build simply weren't doable with reasonably acceptable effort in Way of the Hunter. We reached a point where starting something new was the more realistic option. So yes, we're working on a new hunting game, and this time we're building it in Unreal Engine 5. UE5 isn't just a technical upgrade, it's what makes a fresh start possible. It allows us to set up systems and tools properly from day one, instead of layering new features onto structures that were built years ago. Starting clean gives us room to plan better, avoid old technical baggage, and apply everything we've learned so far without constraints. We are building a stronger technical foundation that will allow us to support the game longer than we could with Way of the Hunter. And that's kind of the big news that they're technically saying in the video. So we're going to stop here. We're going to run the video. Again, just like always, don't take too much from the graphic quality. This is a recording of a recording. It's been processed multiple times. It's been up through YouTube and down from YouTube and back up and processed on back. There's just, you can't look at it and judge what things are going to look like as well as if you see it live yourself. So again, just like any of these, you guys already know, don't try to judge too much from the images. And this one's really not so much about that. But we're going to go ahead and let that run through. It's only a few minutes long, and we'll pick up once that's done.
From the day that we launched Way of the Hunter, it was our main mode of operation to listen to the community and to implement as much feedback as we could and as much as made sense for the project. But there was also a set of things that we wanted to do that just weren't realistically feasible in Way of the Hunter. Maybe it's because they would take too long to do, or the opportunity cost of doing that and not something else was too great. And so with our next project, many of the things that we really wanted to do and that we know that you wanted us to do, we can finally do now with Unreal Engine 5 with our next project.
I would say that our players are pretty much very creative. And then when we compare our plans into the future, I can definitely say that many players suggest the same. So pretty much what we are thinking with what we do is definitely something which already been mentioned in the forums. So as I said, we take the feedback into consideration. Sometimes we see the feedback and say, well, that's a really good idea. Sometimes we say, okay, so we had this hypothesis, and now what people are saying simply just supports what we thought. So that's also kind of a signal, right, that we are doing or thinking something good. Even if a person gives a good feedback and they don't see the feedback materializing in the game, it's probably because we didn't do it yet.
So with Way of the Hunter, the technology that we were using, which is Unreal Engine 4, was a mature technology, but also a technology that was at the end of its life cycle. On the other hand, Unreal Engine 5 then presents itself as a more future-proof technology that is going to improve and develop over time together with the game that we are working with. And it also allows us to build the game in a more under the hood, in a more structured and modular way that's going to make us more efficient at updating the game later on.
Well, Unreal Engine 5 pretty much enables us to be competitive even 5 or 6 years from now, because the old engine, Unreal Engine 4, was okay, but as the time goes on, new consoles, new generation, new graphics card, everything will be pretty much more focused on the new engine, and the new engine can shine with the new technology.
There is a thought, maybe a valid thought out there, of why not just port Way of the Hunter from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5, and it may seem like the simple, easy way to do it from the outside, but the reality of the situation is that at the end of the day, it's almost the same amount of work as starting fresh, not having to transfer all the baggage that we took from a finished game to a next project that we can really do the way that we want is very valuable to us, and I think it's going to result in a much better game for everyone.
We give players the opportunity to play the way they want. So if you want to have we want to take it slowly, just take it slowly. You are not competing with anyone, you're just having fun, right? So you're having fun, this is the most important thing when you're playing a video game. Unless it's Counter-Strike, then you're not playing for fun, of course.
All right, so there we have, it's a lot of information, like a few little things that we can kind of pull from it. Not a lot, I don't want to say not a lot of info, not a lot of detail, which is understandable. They haven't even released the game's name officially yet. But let's kind of walk through this from the beginning. There's a few things I wanted to kind of talk through as we go. So we're just going to play this.
From the day that we launched Way of the Hunter was...
And here's the first thing. Michael, associate producer. This was one of the CMs on the Discord. I knew that he had moved up. I don't know if I knew he became associate producer or not. So congratulations, I guess. Not sure when that changed or if that's what the change was. And heck, I may have already talked about it and forgotten about it. I don't know. But that did jump out as something I wanted to make sure I mentioned.
Our main mode of operation to listen to the community and to implement as much feedback as we could and as much as made sense for the project. But there was also a set of things that we wanted to do that just weren't realistically feasible in Way of the Hunter. Maybe it's because they would take too long to do, or the opportunity cost of doing that and not something else was too great.
Okay, so the first thing here, they're saying there were things they wanted to do that they couldn't. That's good news for us. We've all, well, at least most of us, have talked about the potential of the game, and there were so many things that we would love to see added in, and they've added stuff in as we've went over the 3 years. But for them to call it out and just be open and honest, look, there was stuff we wanted to do, but we couldn't. That's big. And trying to convey the opportunity cost, I know that's probably a foreign concept to some people who aren't in the dev industry, for example. But all opportunity cost is spending time on one thing takes the opportunity from working on something else away from it. So when you're choosing between feature A or feature B, you're effectively saying that, okay, this is more important. This is what I want to spend my time on, and that has a cost. Everything is time bound, okay? So if you've got, let's just say you've got 8 hours of dev time to put towards feature X. You can spend 8 hours on that, or maybe you can put together 3 little features that take up the same amount of time, and you have to start weighing what's more important, what gives the better product to the customers. So I think it's great that they're calling out that there was things they wanted to do and that they couldn't. The question that kind of jumps to me with that is, are we looking at new mechanics? So given we are looking at a new engine, we're looking at them understanding that, we have to choose this or that. It makes me wonder if maybe there are some things that they wanted to do but couldn't with the mechanics.
And so with our next project, many of the things that we really wanted to do and that we know that you wanted us to do,
And there it is, what they wanted to do and what we wanted them to do. So again, that sounds like some new stuff coming.
we can finally do now with Unreal Engine 5 with our next project.
I would say that our players are pretty much very creative.
I like the way he laughs at that. I think he's absolutely right. I think that the community is extremely creative. There are so many ideas, good, bad, and indifferent, but there's a ton of ideas out there.
And then when we compare our plans into the future, I can definitely say that many players suggest the same. So pretty much what we are thinking with what we do is definitely something which already been mentioned in the forums. So as I said, we take the feedback into consideration. Sometimes we see the feedback and say, well, that's a really good idea. Sometimes we say, okay, so we had this hypothesis, and now what people are saying simply just supports what we thought. So that's also kind of a signal, right, that we are doing or thinking something good.
And this isn't big news in and of itself, but the fact that they're openly talking about how they use the feedback, it may be a brand new idea, it may be something that sparks a conversation. It may be just confirming, this idea that so-and-so had is something they'd already talked about. And then everybody's on board. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Confirming, that the direction is a good one. That's awesome. I think it's important for a game, especially in a niche market like this, to pay attention to the player base. And to be frank, in the early days, we didn't feel that very much. I think the first that I can really say we felt that the team was truly listening to the community is when they started to change the look of Huntersons. I think that kind of broke down that initial barrier, and I feel like that's when we started beginning to see the team really listen to the community and focus on doing things for the community. We saw stuff following that, the different sliders that came in, being able to turn down the ambient sound. There were things like that that continued to be added in that 100% were not part of the initial vision. They were changes that they made for us. So that's good. Something before we go on, I just want to pull back to this screen. Whoops, went too far. To this screen here. The eastern wild turkey, last seen passing over the Nez Perce Valley and Matariki Park. Yeah, that's about as official as you're going to get of what the next critter is going to be, and I think we can assume it's going to be pretty soon. I don't think they would let that be put in if they weren't looking to make sure we knew. And just as a heads up, anytime you see the dev screens and stuff like that, I did try to look through and see if anything was interesting that I could find. I mean, yeah, she's on Discord. I mean, it's just conversations or whatever. But I did look through and see if there was anything that was very exciting, and nothing that I saw was clear enough to read that really jumped out. So if I kind of skip over that later on, it's not that I didn't look or try to pay attention. It just didn't work out so well.
You're thinking something good. Even if a person gives a good feedback and they don't see the feedback materializing in the game, it's probably because we didn't do it yet.
Okay, so I like the way that they're saying it. All right, it's a good idea, and it's just that we haven't done it yet. Sorry, Daniel, I don't completely buy that 100%. Not that I think that he's lying, and I don't think that there's any malice behind saying it. But the reality is there are tons of good ideas, but there's only so much time. There's only so much you can do. There's only so much that even should be in the game. You could have a great idea that just doesn't work great for that game. So I appreciate the sentiment, but I think we all have to realize, even if you have the greatest idea in the world, there's no reason to expect that it would necessarily make it in game. Now, this next part coming up, this is big.
So with Way of the Hunter, the technology that we were using, which is Unreal Engine 4, was a mature technology, but also a technology that was at the end of its life cycle. On the other hand, Unreal Engine 5 then presents itself as a more future-proof technology that is going to improve and develop over time together with the game that we are working with. And it also allows us to build the game in a more under the hood, in a more structured and modular way that's going to make us more efficient at updating the game later on.
All right, so that's a lot of big stuff. So they're understanding that what was initially built just doesn't support adding in the features as easily as what it could. And there may or may not have been a lack of focus on, future-proofing the code when it was initially built. New team, new game. I don't know how much some of these guys had actually worked together. So there's a good chance that a lot of things were coded in a finite manner. It was coded for that specific use, and that would make it more difficult to be able to reuse this code. Reusable code is something that's kind of key in software development. But it may have not have been dynamic enough to where they could reuse it for other pieces or other elements or other functions and features. So planning ahead and future-proofing things as they go, that's a huge step. That's big, big, big news, because that shows us that even if it's not there early on, there is a focus to build things in such a way they can add it in. So that's, I mean, it's not anything new, but that's great to hear, them talking about it and expressing that, yeah, the original build just didn't really support that very well.
Well, Unreal Engine 5 pretty much enables us to be competitive even 5 or 6 years from now.
Okay, do I need to say that again, or let him say that again? Listen carefully.
Unreal Engine 5 pretty much enables us to be competitive even 5 or 6 years from now.
5 or 6 years from now, still being competitive. So Way of the Hunter's 3 years old, and effectively it's done. I mean, there's no way around it. They're working on the new game. We knew that they had split the team apart and had, a chunk of people working on the new code, and we'll call it the skeleton crew, still working on Way of the Hunter, which I appreciate that they're still doing anything to Way of the Hunter right now. But they're looking at 5 to 6 years down the road now. Immediately looking 5 to 6 years down the road. That's huge. I have Discord completely turned off and still it pops up. All right, whatever. I guess I should have put it on Do Not Disturb or whatever it is. But so they're not looking at building a new game every couple of years. They saw that Way of the Hunter didn't have, I don't want to call it the guts. It didn't have the internal structure that would allow them to continue to expand the game in a way that would make it more than what it is today. One of the big things that so many of us complained about was that it never lived up to the potential that it had. And anyone who was here early on can definitely see that the game has changed a ton over the 3 years. But it never really hit the potential of what it could be. And I think this is part of the reason why it just wasn't built in a way that supported future development well enough to allow them to really take it to the next level. And with what he's saying here, along with talking about how Michael was talking about how the Unreal Engine 5 is going to allow them to code things differently and all that. I think what we're seeing is a major change to a new game that's going to be supported for much longer than what we've seen with Way of the Hunter. And that's a big thing to me, especially when you're talking about buying a whole new game. We're not talking about a $5 DLC. We're talking about a $50 game, $60 game. Yeah, we were debating in Discord just today, how much is it going to be? I think I looked it up and I paid $49.99 for the pre-order for Way of the Hunter. So I can't imagine it would be any cheaper than that. but I don't think it's going to be, an 80, 90, $100 game. But it looks like they are looking to keep it in the bigger scheme for years. So that's huge.
Because the old engine, Unreal Engine 4, was okay, but as the time goes on, new consoles, new generation, new graphics card, everything will be pretty much more focused on the new engine, and the new engine can shine with the new technology.
And that's more of what they were saying. So it makes sense to move with the times. If you're going to build a new game, put it on the new engine. And yes, I did look through the screens and didn't find anything other than easy fog as anything on the screens that was exciting. But yeah, that's more of the same. Now this next part, this to me gives us probably the biggest hint out of the entire video.
There is a thought, maybe a valid thought out there of why not just port Way of the Hunter from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5. And it may seem like the simple, easy way to do it from the outside, but the reality of the situation is that at the end of the day, it's almost the same amount of work as starting fresh, not having to transfer all the baggage that we took from a finished game to a next project that we can really do the way that we want is very valuable to us, and I think it's going to result in a much better game for everyone.
Okay, so he literally said, why don't we just port Way of the Hunter from UE4 to UE5? So to me, and maybe I'm just being a little over perceptive or rose colored glasses or whatever, why would you talk about porting Way of the Hunter from 4 to 5 if the new game is not Way of the Hunter 2? To me, this is as close to saying, yeah, this is Way of the Hunter 2 coming as we can possibly get. So, yeah, it's not confirmed, but I don't see how it could be anything else. With this particular statement, why would you even talk about porting it if it wasn't a flavor of Way of the Hunter? Now, I don't think that it's going to be the Way of the Hunter that we have today, not ported, but rebuilt in UE5. I think there's going to be some changes along the way. And the big question now to me, how much of the old stuff are we going to get? Are we going to get the old maps back? Are we going to have Nez Perce and Transylvania, Mata, Lint? I mean, Ticket was awesome. Aurora Shores exists. Are we going to get those? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Given the way they talk about the effort to port over versus rebuilding from scratch, I kind of get the feeling that we're not necessarily going to get we'll call them the classic maps. But maybe, I don't know. I just thought that was really, really telling when they specifically called out, why not just port? It wouldn't be why not just port if you were working on a completely different game. So I think that's, I'm going to call it almost confirmed, but not quite. The other thing that I wanted to kind of bring up here, let's see, this tower. This is a new tower design. This is something that actually Heathen mentioned in Discord, and I'd noticed it too. But this tower is a little bit different looking. I don't remember it having the little front piece here like this. So I think that we're going to see some new little elements along the way. Not that it really matters, but yeah, I just thought it was neat to see a little bit of the project in play here. Let me get back to where I was. I can't remember where we stopped at. Well, we're just gonna let me see
that we can really do the way that we want is very valuable to us, and I think it's going to result in a much better game for everyone.
So that's where we stopped at, and I do 100% agree. I think that rebuilding it from the ground up is going to be a much better solution than trying to port it over and dealing with everything that has.
So
let's hit this last little piece here.
We give players the opportunity to play the way they want. So if you want to have we want to take it slowly, just take it slowly.
I'm just going to call out Fei Yin here. I think you just made it into a video, sir. I don't think that there's anyone that can possibly play any slower. So I think you just got silently famous.
You are not competing with anyone. You're just having fun, right? So.
Okay, so that part jumps out at me. You are not competing with anyone. That's disappointing. I don't get me wrong. I get the concept and I get the feeling that he's trying to convey. Play your game. Have fun playing it your way. I'm absolutely for that. Huge proponent of it. You know, it doesn't matter how I play, how you play, how Billy Bob plays. Play whatever is fun to you. If that's Ranger, it's Ranger. If it's Hiker, it's Hiker. If it's, run and gun versus sitting in the stand, doesn't matter. Play your game and have fun your way. But when they specifically called out it's not a competition, that makes me think that we're probably still not going to get one of the things that so many of us really want, and that's things like the competitions, the leaderboards. We're starting to see a little more with events, so hopefully that continues and they expand on that. And hopefully with the new build, they're able to do more and more with it and able to really take the events and missions and stuff to the next level. But it is kind of sad, I should say, or I could say, to hear him flat out say, it's not about the competition. I get it. It's not. It's a hunting game. But come on, we're gamers. We like competition.
You're having fun. This is the most important thing when you're playing a video game.
And stopping it right there because he's 100% correct. As long as you're having fun, that's the big thing. You're not hurting anybody else. You're playing your game your way. Have at it.
Unless it's Counter-Strike, then you're not playing for fun, of course.
Kill them all. Kill them till they die from it. All right, guys. So that's basically the whole thing. I mean, not a whole lot that we can really take from it. I do think that that's as close to being confirmed as Way of the Hunter 2 as you can get. Once we hear for sure, then we'll know. I may be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong about it, but I just can't imagine that he would specifically talk about why not just port Way of the Hunter over to UE5. It just seems so obvious of what it is. I mean, initially, I honestly didn't expect that they were going to do another hunting game right off the bat. I thought that they would move over to the survival genre. I was honestly expecting to see the next game being something like that leveraged a lot of the stuff they had done in Way of the Hunter. We've got all the animals and stuff like that, so they know how to do the open world game. So I was kind of expecting the next game to be a survival game. It's not. It's a hunting game. And now, after what we heard from Michael, I'm going to say almost confirmed it's Way of the Hunter 2. It just fits. And the look fits. There was nothing in there that didn't look like Way of the Hunter. The videos that we've seen, and the little tidbits that we saw, like the stand and stuff like that, the different pieces we saw on the screens people were working on, all of that screams Way of the Hunter to me. It just does. And maybe it was Way of the Hunter. Maybe the stand is one I just never realized looked like that. So this could all be footage from the original game, and we're just getting completely snowballed on what the new game actually looks like. So, who knows? Anyway, that's it. I don't want to ramble on for too long with it. There's not too much in it, but I did want to bring it up and make sure I shared it with you guys if you didn't get a chance to see it. Again, just like the announcement, I know not everybody is in the Discord every day. Not everybody's watching their social media feeds and waiting to see what Nine Rock's doing. So I wanted to make sure that we did put something together and share it out here. I'm not putting together a ton of videos, just gameplay videos and stuff anymore. But whenever something like this comes out, I absolutely want to try to put something together. And when something new comes, well, there's probably going to be new videos coming too. So I'm excited for multiple reasons on this new one coming out. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up and call it done. Y'all have a good night. God bless and happy hunting.